Hey, it's Lori with Voice in the Dark, and this is a new list of things I wanted to address because, you know, we've always huddled together when there was a natural disaster or tragedy, and it seems that we're missing some key points on what the basic human rights are and what our rights are. And that's to stand up for what we believe in and what this country was built for. I hear a lot of bullshit from both sides, Democrat and Republican, both equally. I would implore anyone that is actively angry about what they're seeing to go back and read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's what I've been doing. And it has a much deeper meaning to me now. You need to go back in history and see what our forefathers left behind and fought so strongly for their freedom. Do you want to go back to that? I don't. And we agreed, they agreed with each other and states alike and the people that we wouldn't stop them from having a voice, their own opinion, and to stand up against something that's wrong, you know, as long as it's not violent. And religion, we were supposed to be free so that we could, you know, go back in history. They told you whoever was in government at the time, king, queen, whatever, they told you what you were going to be religiously. Is that what you want? And who do you want to win? And then if it is a Christian, you know, church, denominations, Christian, yay, which one's it gonna be? Which church? Which branch? There's quite a few of them that, you know, I had a friend once tell me, she said, I said, they're all different. She goes, oh, well, I think you're wrong. I said, how many churches did you have to church hop to find one that fit your needs and wants? And she thought about it. I said, yeah, you're right. I said, I know. So that's why we left religion out of government, because everyone has a right to worship their God, goddess, all it is, or not, the way they choose. And that's why we keep it out of government. Government is meant to be making sure that the basic rights, the basic human rights, are being met. And that includes there are 30 of them. I'm going to go through them a couple at a day. This is actually the 30 basic human rights list, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And it was signed in 1948 and with the United Nations. Eleanor Roosevelt led it. The thing is that this is what our country was based on. Our country, the United States of America, was based on these rights. And I think we all need to go back to the drawing board and truly look at where our government has written over and around so many of our Bill of Rights that it's pretty pathetic. But if you go back and read that Bill of Rights, you'll understand that they knew what a conglomerate would do. It would raise prices. It would they would have control of everything. This is why we weren't supposed to have them in this country. About 40, 50 years ago, things started turning different. And they finagled their way into the country. This is not something new to the world, but it is new to us. And it was never meant to happen. The one thing that I need everyone to understand is we can not consent to what is happening, and they have to stop. And I know that sounds freakishly weird or whatever, but it's the truth. And there are powers that be that are in charge, but they were never to have this kind of ownership and over all of us at all. So let me start reading the universal basic human rights, and you tell me if I'm wrong. All human beings are free and equal. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. No discrimination. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on a basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs. Number 3, right to life. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. 4, no slavery. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. No torture and inhumane treatment. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. Same right. 6, same right to use law. Everyone has the right to recognize everywhere as a person before the law. Equal before the law. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination and violation and against any incitement to such discrimination. 8, right to treat fair by court. Everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. Number 9, no unfair detainment. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Number 10, right to a trial. Everyone is entitled to a full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in the determination of his rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against him. I'm going to stop with 10. We'll do 10 more tomorrow and 10 the next day. But one thing I wanted to read to you is something that I found. Just listen. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right to do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Divine providence means to God, God's caring of humanity. Go back and read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Read the declarations they made against the king and all the things he did. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. I'm not saying our country's balanced and all it's supposed to be. There's work that needs to be done. But the work that needs to be done needs to be based on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And we need to go in and look at all the laws that were made over the last 50 years and where things took a bad turn. We were never meant to have conglomerates. No, none. And if you look, when somebody gets a successful business in this country or in the World Wide Web or anywhere else, they're bought up from one of the bigger conglomerates. We have to put a stop to all this abuse because it's abuse. It is abuse to our intellect, number one, and our hearts and our humanness. It was never meant to be like this. And for those of you that get really mad over social helping hands, you're fools. And I'll tell you that now. That's all poppycock. It costs you about $38, $42 a month. That's it, out of your taxes. Everything else goes to the warmonger. We need to open our eyes and put our tempers down and our self-righteous bullshit down and look at each other as a brotherhood. All men and women. All children. Inalienable rights. To worship as we choose, to have sex as we choose. None of that should be even on the board for anything. It should be just a quiet respect. What happened to quiet respect? Like in Hollywood. What happened to our society? Where have we gone wrong? I remember when neighborhoods were built on streets and blocks. And you had every walk of life economically on that block. You had the rich one, you had the mediocre one, and you had the piss poor, all the way down to piss poor. But as kids, we all played together. And we didn't have all this division of economic rule and all that bullshit. We had kids that played together. And we had families that respected each other. We kept our yards neat and clean, and that's all it was required. We knew that he was the bank, so that's where we went for Halloween because he had the best candy. But his son always came down and played bottle caps with us, and, you know, Little League Baseball or wrestling or whatever you want to come up with. It didn't matter to the kids. And I think that's what gave us a stronger America, a stronger people. Not everyone, because it made it obvious that not everyone makes that much money. Not everyone is in the same structures. But when you walked down the street and you saw each other, you nodded and said each other's names. You had respect. Where's respect now? The violence that is going on, the kinds of violence that's going on, is showing a weakness in our society, in our government, and our big business, our corporations. We don't need them. We don't need any of them because we have enough intelligence on the planet and enough money that we could back them up as little, go back to cottage industries again if we need to. But you have to be involved, and I don't care how spiritual you are and how happy you're staying in your own little world. You have to be part of our world. We have to be an integral part of it. Being spiritual didn't mean you had to give up your personality and that you didn't have to give up being part of everything. Being spiritual means be the best you can be and be involved. Anyway, that's my soapbox for today. Have a good day, and I'll get another one up tomorrow. I'll talk to you later. Lori, and a voice in the dark.